People told me, man, my subscribers told me, people in the Zero Division, they told me I was not ready for this volume. That this is probably one of their favorite volumes. That something new happens in this volume. That Miura reinvents this series' namesake, which is Berserk. And that is absolutely true. The Berserker armor. That's all I have to say. The Berserker armor. There it is in its raw form. But then this dude Guts feels a ferociousness seething inside of him, and the beast of darkness reveals itself and tells Guts to relinquish himself to the beast of darkness, and the armor transforms. And he's able to go head to head with Grunbeld, an apostle who has been alive for a very long time and is a warrior that's now an apostle, and he's pretty much, in my opinion, the guts of the Neo-Baron the Hawk, much like Zod is. This volume showed us so much character development for Farnese in general, for Guts, and for Isidro as well. I absolutely loved this volume of Berserk. Volume 26. I'm so tempted, and I have no money right now. I have to buy Christmas presents. I'm so tempted to just go on Amazon and use a credit card and buy the next couple volumes because I want to see what happens to Guts in this Berserker armor. It's obvious he feels no pain, and that's what Shirk explains. When you don the Berserker armor, you go into a Berserker rage. You feel no pain, and it heightens your perception, your reflexes, your strength as a human. Even though this dude has a wound, a wound on his spirit from Slann, which I'll get to that fight in a little bit, he still was able to go head-to-head with Grunbeld because he ignores the pain. But at the very end, we see blood coming out of the joints and whatnot of the armor. So I want to see what Guts looks like underneath that armor. Just how much pain this dude is in. Just how many of his wounds opened up. Absolutely crazy. This definitely reinvented the namesake of this series, Berserk. And my only question for it is, how often can he use this Berserker armor? You know, I would like to see him use it when he's in tip-top shape. No wounds, no soul wound, none of that. Just in tip-top shape, I want to see him use this Berserker armor eventually. But that was the highlight of this volume for me, was the donning of the Berserker armor, you know, and the Neo-Bane of the Hawk coming to Flora's mansion because they want her head. And, you know, when they uttered the Band of the Hawk, Guts got extremely pissed. He was like, how dare you say that name? And that's when he started to fight. And, you know, Shirk gives, you know, him the Berserker armor. I enjoyed Shirk and Flora's final goodbye. Even though Shirk doesn't know if, you know, this man is her destiny, her fate, she still, you know, follows through with her master's final request. Absolutely awesome. I also liked the whole Skull Knight and Flora conversation, how apparently they're very old friends. You know, Flora, I'm going to assume, has been alive since the Skull Knight was a human. I'm still assuming that he is the king of Midland, the first king of Midland. I'm still assuming that. That's my theory on that. And he knew her. He knew Flora. And apparently, he's always been devoted to her. So maybe she was like his queen at one point, or his mistress or something. I don't know. She even goes as far as to say, I wish I could have seen your bashful smile, you know, again. So we get to, we learn little things about the Skull Knight through their conversation as well. Incredible. I want to learn more about the Skull Knight. And, you know, I still, like I said, I still think he is Gyseric, the first king of Midland. And obviously, like I said, I think Flora was alive back then as well. Isidro, his character development in this episode, volume rather, and it's not as much as development as much as him basically doing what he has to do. And he got the courage and the devotion and determination from Guts, because Guts told him, you know, I'm counting on you. Don't prove me wrong. And Isidro, he you know, guards the rear and he uses those bombs. But there's a moment where the kid finally starts to shine, and the kid finally starts to show that he is slowly learning and becoming a better fighter. When he ducks low real fast, dodges the strike from that, like, head troll, slices him with the pirate sword that the old man gave him, and then hits him with the fetish that Shirk and Flora gave him, and defeats the troll leader. I cheered so much, man. I was so happy to see Isidro gain victory for the first time, truly gain victory, and be proud of himself and realize that he took the right, took a step in the right direction. And it does go to his head, but that's Isidro, that's his character. It makes sense. Of course it's going to go to his head. There's another moment, another great moment of character development, and it's between Farnese and Guts. And it's also a moment of respect and a moment of gratitude as well. Guts in the past, after, he lost to Bane of the Hawk, he would never have said, to anybody he wanted to be a loner. He didn't want new comrades. He wasn't willing to let himself open up and accept people's help. He tells Farnese, everything you've done so far, it's a great help. And that moment really, really touched me. I was like, you know what? Guts is starting to realize these people are his companions, just like Judo, Pippin, Corkus, the former Casca, everything was his companions. And for him to actually say that to her, it shows me that he's opening up again. He's allowing people to, be his companions, to, walk beside him. He wants to protect these people as well. And it really touched me. And I could see it touched Farnese as well, because she said, you needn't do that, but she started crying. And Farnese, realizing that at first she thought it was retribution, but wanting to protect somebody who's weaker than her. The same person that she tried to oppress so many times. And now that person is saving her, allowing her to fight for this person that's weaker than her. She feels like she's redeeming herself. And honestly, Farnese, that is redemption in and of itself. You are redeeming yourself. You're proving yourself as a better character, a better person. You're protecting the weak like you should have been doing when you were a Holy Iron Chain Knight, when you were the commander of the Holy Iron Chain Knights. You're redeeming yourself. And the character's definitely starting to redeem herself for me as well. I'm starting to like her more. I feel she's a more likable character. Yes, she's still kind of useless, but at this moment, she's playing the babysitter role for Casca, and that's fine. She's starting to protect Casca as well. Lashing out at the trolls and cutting off their fingers. I thought that was a great moment for Guts and Farnese. They have an understanding of each other. Guts basically says he's grateful. He sort of respects her. And I think that's the push that Farnese needed to continue to develop herself. Now, I want to see more development for Serpico, honestly. I would like to see Casca eventually get her memories back, but I can't see that happening for a very long time. Because, their goal is to get to Puck's homeland, to let Casca be safe there and rest there and whatnot. Maybe once if they get to Puck's homeland, maybe that's where she'll regain her memories, but I don't know. Now, the battle between Slann, if you want to call it a battle, and Guts, it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I loved the Skull Knight coming in, helping Guts, telling him to, to attack her. He blows off her stomach. The chick's a sadist. She loves the pain. To her, pain is pleasure. Pleasure is pain. And then he runs her through, and she actually embraces him, making the blade go farther. But she disappears because, that was just a ethereal figure. It wasn't really a reincarnation, how Femto has taken the reincarnated form of Griffith. She also doesn't know where the other God Hand are. Maybe they're lying in wait. They're formless, shapeless, as she stated. Because the coming of the fifth, the reincarnation of the fifth, is the overlapping of the astral world and the physical world. Another hint that it's going to overlap entirely, and possibly these God Hand will eventually be reincarnated into the physical world. That's the sense I'm getting, that they will be reincarnated into the physical world at some point. Because she mentions it, they're shapeless and formless at this moment. So does that mean they're going to gain shape eventually? Are they going to be reincarnated into a human body? But the battle between them, I liked it because we finally got to see him fight against a God Hand. Yes, he tried to strike Femto before the whole Golden Age arc flashback and whatnot, but he wasn't able to do anything against him. In this, he was real close to Slann. He was actually able to stab her, blow away her stomach with his cannon, and I felt like it showed a little bit of strength progression for Guts. He was able to actually slice at the God Hand, even though it wasn't her true form. Also, we get to see why our boy Skull Knight has been eating the Baelits, and it was obviously to refine them and create a sword of actuation, I believe he called it, which is able to cleave space and time. Absolutely crazy. That was allowing them to escape. I thought that was neat. I don't know if he'll ever use it again. I assume he will, but maybe it's a one-shot thing because all the Baelits were on his sword, and thorns were there, and he sliced, space of time, once again allowing himself to save Guts and get out of there. So now Guts owes this guy twice. He saved the Guts twice. And that brings me to another point when we see the War Demons there, and Zod's there, Grunbeld's there, Guts is there, and the Skull Knight's there. And the War Demons recognize the Skull Knight, and they recognize Guts. They recognize Guts as a sacrifice. They recognize the Skull Knight as the person that broke into the Eclipse. I don't know why I didn't put two and two together, but these War Demons are all the apostles that were there during the Eclipse. They were there for their master's reincarnation. They even say that. So this was all planned, all destined. The flows of causality, or whatever you want to call it. This was all destined to happen. They all basically were there to witness their master's rebirth, their master's reincarnation in the Femto. That blew my mind. I never really put two and two together to figure out that's what was going on. That these apostles that were there were going to become Griffith's basically apostle army, his War Demons. But it makes sense because they fed on the sacrifices, the Band of the Hawk. Just stay with me here. They fed on the Band of the Hawk to feed the rebirth of Griffith and the Femto. But now they are the new Band of the Hawk. So they basically ate the Band of the Hawk, replaced the Band of the Hawk now, all for their master's reincarnation. It absolutely blew my mind. I was like, wow. Kentaro Miura, like he didn't mention it during the Eclipse, but then so many volumes later, we're talking 13 volumes later, it gets mentioned that they were the demons. They were the apostle that were there during the Eclipse. I just thought that was really, really nice inclusion. I thought it was just, it's great foreshadowing, if that's what it's really. I don't know if that's what it's called, foreshadowing, but to me, it's just great storytelling, and he ties up all kinds of loose ends and whatnot. And to me, Kentaro Miura is just an amazing story writer. His art is amazing as well. He's just a great mangaka. There's no doubt about it. Now, we learn that that the Berserker armor is karmic, as what's his name states, Skull Knight, and Flores says no. Apparently, they are the new group, Guts and his companions, are not going to walk the same path as them. And apparently Zod said it brings back old memories when he sees Guts in the Berserker armor. Apparently, the Skull Knight, when he was a human, I'm assuming when he was Gyseric, because we don't have confirmation that he's Gyseric yet, he donned the Berserker armor at one point. And he says, you're going to let him walk the same path into hell? So that begs the question, are we ever going to see a flashback of the Skull Knight, see his backstory, see him wearing the Berserker armor, seeing what his relationship was truly with Flora, who they were back in the day? Are we ever going to see that? I definitely want to see it. I do not think Guts is going to walk the same path as the Skull Knight. I think it's going to be completely different, obviously, or somewhat similar, but they will not, end up in the same result, basically. I don't think he's going to end up being an apostle like the Skull Knight is, but it was just neat to hear that apparently the Skull Knight donned the Berserker armor at one point. Now, my question is as well, the Berserker armor, we've seen it in its raw form. The Beast of Darkness was able to merge with it and transform it. If the Beast of Darkness didn't exist, would the Berserker armor would it still be doing what it's supposed to do, like doling out the pain and whatnot? Or does the person that has the Beast of Darkness in them, do they have to have that for the Berserker armor to be activated? That's my question about that. Does that mean if the Skull Knight wore the Berserker armor before, did the Skull Knight have a Beast of Darkness that was tempting him and inside of him? That's what I want to know as well. Which brings me to another point. I said Guts has companions now. That's another point of development for Guts. At one point, he sees his new companions, he sees his former companions in them. And he goes, I thought I would never get to this point again where I would have companions. I love it. Guts has opened himself up to being, a companion to other people. And I mentioned this earlier in the review. He now is allowing people, he has developed so much from when he reverted from not allowing people to be close to him. He now agrees and he admits that he has these people, that these people are his companions. And I hate to mention it like this. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. But really, truly, it shows just how much Guts has changed since the Band of the Hawks sacrifice. He's sort of getting back to where he was when he was a member of the Band of the Hawk. He's allowing people into his life, and he's allowing himself to get attached to people and want to save them. Because it's true, okay? You could say, oh, he was only saving Casca in the den and whatnot. But no, he was fighting those trolls, fighting Slann because he wanted to save all of them. All of them as his companions, and that's why at the end of that chapter, he was looking at them and he was like, these are my companions, basically. And I think it's a right step in the right direction, you know. He lost all his companions, the Band of the Hawk. Now he has a new group of companions. Meanwhile, Griffith has the Neo Band of the Hawk. And it's just very interesting that, you know, they're polar opposites now, basically, Griffith and Guts. But overall, this volume was absolutely beautiful. I loved it so much. Like I said, so much character development for all the different characters. Farnese, Isidro, Guts. Serpico, not too much because he was kind of absent in the whole volume. He was back resting. Shirk as well, having a major loss. The only person that was truly ever in her life. Losing her master is going to be a very lonesome road. However, I think she's going to realize that these people, Guts and, you know, his companions, will become her companions, and she'll have a place in this world again. She will no longer be lonely, and she'll use her abilities to protect them, and she'll become part of the group. And I have a feeling she's going to travel with them to that port town where, you know, Farnese's family apparently is, and then to Puck's homeland if they can get past that port city. Because bottom line is that's where they're heading, right? They're heading to the port city. That's going to be the next antagonist, in my opinion. It's going to be Farnese's father, who wants Farnese back in the family because she is a token. She is like the daughter of that family, of the Vandemon. So I highly believe that her father will be the next villain or antagonist, whatever you want to call him. The next, you know, the Vandemon family is going to be the next antagonist once they get to the port city. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know. What are your thoughts on the Berserker armor? Honestly, I'm loving it. I think it adds a new dimension. It's a step in the right direction for the story. It gives Guts a power-up, basically, but it's not a power-up that he can just use sparingly. He can just use whenever. He needs to use it sparingly because it will cause damage to him. I'm going to assume that it will slowly engulf him because it is a Berserker armor. It is something that puts you into a blind rage. So I'm sure it will engulf him and try to swallow him up, especially if the Beast of Darkness is behind it. So hopefully we'll get to see him slowly start to control it, slowly start to master the Berserker armor. But at this point, it's definitely something he does not want to use all the time. But I have a feeling in the future he's going to have to use it. And maybe Shirk will be the one to keep him under control because she can use magic and whatnot. She'll probably feel it's her obligation and whatnot. But especially because she's the one that knows all about the fetishes, and that's what this is. The Berserker armor is a fetish that was created by dwarves, by the way, which I didn't mention. Apparently there's dwarves in this world, and we haven't seen any dwarves yet in Berserk. So hopefully that's a hint that we will see dwarves later down the road in the series. That would be awesome to see, especially maybe since they created it. Maybe they will have some like knowledge on the Berserker armor, and they can tell Guts how to control it or whatever. That's just my thoughts on that. But let me know your thoughts on that as well. Or, you know, do you want to see dwarves in the story? Because I definitely do. Why mention them if you're not going to show them? Unless they are like a dying race or they're dead already and they're extinct. But I would love to see some form of dwarf in this story. But like the video if you feel I deserve it. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Thank you for watching. And Jays, we made it past 15 minutes, man, and you were right. This volume, this awesome cover, this awesome volume, this epicness, this volume that contains greatness, greatest of all time, GOAT, which I don't like to use that much, but GOAT Zerk, you were right that I would easily be able to get past 15 minutes on this review, and we're going on to 19, and this volume, man, I just want to display it in the back, just put it up on the back, man, because this volume was greatness, and it definitely adds a new dimension and a step in the right direction for this series. And I can't wait to see what new stuff is going to happen in the story, considering the fact that we have Berserker armor now, we have magic, we have fetishes, we have the mention of dwarves, we got the Neo Band of the Hawk coming in, trying to kill Flora, trying to get rid of Guts, and the Skull Knight. It's just brilliance, and I cannot wait to see more. But that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next review.